For this final week's assignment in what has proven to be an enlightening class, we have been tasked to analyze the experience during the post-war 20th century economy for a person of our choosing. We needed also to relate this person to our own understanding of this period's economic condition. So before getting into my entrepreneur, I first wanted to address my own understanding of the post-World War II era. I started my reading this week with the article Why Indeed in America, Theory, History, and the Origins of the Modern Economic Growth. And at first, I came across a lot of terms like per capita income, GDP, some complex equations. And at least for my own understanding, this initially seemed like it would be a daunting read. Ultimately, though, Romer makes the argument that studying economics is so much more than looking to equations to neatly wrap up economic understandings. And I don't think I could agree anymore. The smaller components of an industry need also be appraised. Romer states that these equations are so simplistic and the world is so complicated. These sentiments are also reflected in Bowery and Schmelzer's work. They claim that GDP, the previously touted say-all, end-all to economic theory, would better be replaced by a dashboard of indicators measuring both monetary and non-monetary components. So Romer, Bowery, Schmelzer, they're each describing what is known as the new growth theory. That smaller internal factors play as much of a role as the external ones in understanding the economic growth. Romner states when the resulting theoretical framework is combined with the evidence and inferences from economic history, economists will be able to give a more convincing answer to the question of how industrial growth works and why it emerged first in America. Speaking of industrial growth, Christian Sadvig's article, How Technical is Technology Research, also refers to understanding industrial growth. And Sandvig stresses the ever-growing importance of both entrepreneurs and economic researchers to study the technology in their respective fields. So in appraising, all of this aforementioned understanding of the post-World War II economic theory, I want to analyze a modern entrepreneur, actually a modern entrepreneurial duo who became technologically, or I should say technological experts in their own fields and whose impact reflected one subsect of innovation outside of the realm of just equations and GDP analysis. This team of entrepreneurs are modern pioneers in trap shooting, all right, in the trap shooting industry. In the shotguns that they now create have become the standards for American-made quality competitive shotguns today. This team is none other than the founder and the current CEO of Kohler Arms, Don and Jeff Mainland. So this summer, I was fortunate enough to be assigned to write an article on this duo for their Amateur Trap Shooting Association Hall of Fame induction. What follows is my analysis of their contributions pulled from my own primary source interviews with Jeff, much of which was incorporated into the August edition of Trap and Field magazine, which is what I wrote it for. So this year, the ATA Hall of Fame is inducting the first father and son team being inducted at the same time. This father and son duo has crafted magnificent shotguns, and they have helped set the bar in shotgun manufacturing. Their success has permitted them to sponsor numerous shoots throughout the country. Their logo was seen donating the hats and shirts of countless shooters, as their shotguns have created a steadfast community of supporters, and their legacy that they have created deserves celebration. This dynamic duo, part of the Trap Shooting Hall of Fame 2024 inductees lineup, is none other than Don and Jeff Mainland of Kohler Arms from Racine, Wisconsin. So our story begins with the late patriarch Don Mainland. Don's right up here. My glare is getting to it. Don lived by the motto, finish whatever you start and do the best at whatever you do. This simple phrase, explained by his son Jeff, who is the one that I interviewed over on that side, can easily represent everything that Don ever set out to accomplish. It has now become a family legacy that is reflected in Jeff's work and the work of Kohler Arms. Don embodied this mantra from a young age, where he volunteered with Sterling Tools. He used his apprenticeship to learn all that he could about tool and die making. In short order, he borrowed just $500 from his mother to purchase what was known as Lesch manufacturing and began crafting, among other things, bicycle frames. This may seem a far cry from the work that he did in the shotgun industry, but Don's dedication to being the best permeated both industries, as we will see. Don was an avid cyclist, so much so that he rode his bike from San Diego to New York in just 14 days. In true mainland fashion, Don parlayed his expertise in cycling, his knowledge of machine work, and his standards of excellence to brace some of the best bike frames at that time. So much so that Don's bike frames were used by the United States Olympic cyclists of 1972. It was during the 1970s that Don entered the shotgunning community as he developed an interest in skeet shooting. With the growing popularity of the sub-gauge tube sets, Don knew that he could use his expertise in machining to craft a quality tube line for the market. So in 1980, Don purchased an already established tube company from Larry Kohler and moved the manufacturing back to Wisconsin. And keeping the Kohler Arm name, legacy was born. From its new Racine, Wisconsin home, Kohler Arms machined their sub-gauge tubes with a strict adherence to perfection and relied on the market exclusively until their partnership with Remington, where they machined reproduction parts for the Parker 20 gauge, the side-by-sides that they created. While Kohler also designed 10 prototypes and 2 fully engraved Parker 20 gauge shotguns that never made it to market, it was this early relationship with the Remington factories that fostered an intimate knowledge of the competitive shotgun industry. This is where we introduced Don's son and co-inductee of the Hall of Fame. That's going to be Jeff Mainland. In 1975, Jeff started working with his father at the Pioneer Products machine shop. He started doing so part-time. Much like his father, Jeff took to the tool and die making industry with his eyes always on excellence. By 1977, Jeff was a full-time apprentice at Don's first company, Lesch Manufacturing, and soon Jeff became quite proficient at CNC, that's computer and numerical control, CNC programming. Using these skills coupled with the work ethic instilled by his father, he was the one who designed these early prototypes for Remington that forged the future relationship that was built there. Ultimately, recognizing that Mainland's family dedication to expert machining, Remington turned to Kohler Arms. Sorry, I want to make sure stay in call. Sometimes it tries to kick me out of my video. Recognized, the Mainland family dedication to expert machining, Remington turned to Kohler Arms to help design and manufacture all of the Remington 90Ts in that Racine facility that they had. From 1990 to 1996, roughly 3,800 90Ts were manufactured, thus cutting Kohler's teeth in the shotgun industry, and not just the sub-gauge tube market that they initially started. While the 90T had a solid reputation, with many still shooting competitively today, it was Don's vision to create an American-made competitive shotgun of his very own. So under that Kohler brand name, with quality being a core value, with only a 10-year contract with Remington to manufacture their 90Ts, Kohler got to work developing their own brand. Armed with Don's vision and aided by Kohler's vice president and chief engineer, Keith Sprangers, 10 prototypes were manufactured with Jeff personally doing the machining himself. It was these prototypes that forged a legacy in American-made shotgun craftsmanship when Kohler went to market in 1996. Both Don and Jeff Mainland soon found themselves at the center of the American-made competitive shotgun industry. Their competitive line of trap and skeet and sporting shotguns soon made it into the hands of thousands of shooters, winning nearly every tournament title in the competitive shotgun venues. In fact, Don has had the distinct pleasure of having not one, but 2 of his creations actually make it into the Olympics. Okay, his bicycle frames as well as his shotguns in the international bunker trap competitions. So Kohler shotguns guys, shows that Don's hard work, Jeff's hard work and dedication has manifested itself into this stellar American-made company. Sadly, Don passed away in November 2nd, 2023, and will be inducted posthumously. Um, though he may no longer be with the trap shooting community in body, his legacy lives on in Jeff, who has taken the reins of Kohler Arms and who is himself passing down that legacy to the third generation of Mainlands, to Jeff's son, Sean Mainland, and the now president of Kohler Arms, and to Jeff's daughter, Brooke Schott, who is now working with Sean as a marketing assistant. Jeff expressed how it was his father who taught him to live by the simple idea to finish whatever you start and to do the best at whatever you do. To both Don and Jeff, quality, fit, finish were always paramount in their products. The pride that they have for the legacy that they have created is the same pride that they see reflected in the eyes of the shooters purchasing their very first Kohler shotgun, and the same pride that they foster in all of their employees who work for Kohler Arms. Don and Jeff Mainland have given a lifetime of commitment that has left its indelible mark on trap shooting's legacy. An analysis of their entrepreneurial accomplishments represents a microcosm of the technologically based entrepreneurial spirit that dominated the United States in the years following World War II. Okay, guys, that's all I have for us today. I look forward to reading or watching all of your posts this week. Okay, my friends, until next time.